Hey guys, John Lex here, back with a new blind playthrough. This is South Scrimshaw Part 1. I'm just gonna click through that because that's a lot of unnecessary noise. So this is a game that was released recently in 2023. It's free. It's essentially a visual novel done in the style of a BBC nature documentary, and it is excuse me. It's about an alien whale. And so if it at all looks interesting, definitely check it out. Oh my gosh. Wow, excuse me. Now I can't talk. But I originally saw this from Alpha Beta Gamers channel. And so if this looks at all interesting, I watched, the first 5 minutes of it and I'm like, okay, gotta play this. Play this for myself, or at least experience it. Wow, excuse me. I'm not redoing this at all. Think I got it there. Jesus. All right. So anyway, this is real. This is real. This is me, guys. This is me. Anyway. So this is done in the style of a nature documentary. It's about an alien whale, effectively. Birth, life, death. This is chapters 1 through 4. It is part 1. Covers up to adolescence. So probably the first half of the story, I would imagine. A lot of it is done by hand. It's available on Steam and but also itch.io. And it looks from the first few minutes of what I saw, it looks fantastic. It's it's hand painted, inked, mixed with a little bit of digital stuff, so it looks really interesting. So thankfully I won't have to read it all because that takes forever, because it's voice acted as well, which is, like I said, fantastic. So definitely check it out. You can either watch it here, or if it looks interesting, like I said, you could stop the video and play it for yourself. H to hide text if you want to look at the thing. You want to look at the art. Left click or space to advance when you see this icon. Now, if you do, maybe it would be easier to watch it on like one of these other channels. Alpha Beta Gamer would be the one I would recommend, because it's no commentary. He plays through the whole thing, and he sets up the auto advance. But does it show us? Yeah. South Scrimshaw is a linear read, but there are information tangents to explore. Text of a different color can be clicked to learn more about a subject. So we will do this. At least I plan to, because I want to see all the little tidbits and everything. Right. While there are known egg-laying mammals, none of them are whales. Like, that's one of the first lines. I recognize that from the couple minutes that I watched. I will be clicking that to see what it says. And, another example right there. All right, The Law, 3rd edition, Rudolph Pinder, Snipe Legal Counsel, Snopalope. This is a work of fiction. Names, characters, businesses, places, events, and most of the science are either the products of the author's imagination or are used in a fictitious manner. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. Thank you. It's sad that it has to, that we have to have this disclaimer, but I guess that's the world we live in today. Said quantum transmission verification or something. All right, GA12 general audience plus 12 educational content pending clearance admin region 2 applicant Studio Mongoose, produced by the Corporation for Earth Media, length of media 33.4 SPS, number of certificate 1112, language English. This is an official message. Wow, I can't talk today. Maybe I need more alcohol. I haven't had any. That was my first sip. This is an official message. What's wrong with me today? Of the provisional authority of your jurisdiction. Removal or alteration of this message is a violation of 12 PS code. I don't know what that double squiggly thing is supposed to be. 117, like title. I think it stands for title, but I could be wrong. Or is that subsection? Anyway, substituting this placard into another work for the purpose of conveying, or in a manner reasonably calculated to convey, a false impression of sponsorship or approval by the provisional authorities forbidden. Criminal violation is investigated by central law enforcement and may constitute a felony with a maximum penalty of up to 5 years in prison and or a $200,000 fine. Yeah, you can go to prison for unauthorized copyright violations. I refuse to use that word of, sailing the seas because it's inaccurate. But yeah, you often go to prison, and this is fictitious anyway, but you often go to prison for more for unauthorized copyright violations than you do for certain, like, manslaughter, I think. Maybe vehicular manslaughter. I don't know.
The Corporation for Earth Media is proud to present this educational program.
Look at how good this looks and sounds.
Produced in conjunction with the frontier scientists, engineers, and artists of the Kronos 7 expedition.
We have to remember, if there's non-yellow words, to click on them.
South Scrimshaw is made possible through the support of viewers like you.
The other thing to realize is that, I don't know what South Scrimshaw is, but Scrimshaw, I believe, is the carving of whale bones, which means this is not going to end in a positive manner. But then again, this could be maybe documenting this.
Thank you.
Maybe documenting the life cycle of this alien whale is a form of Scrimshaw, in effect. I don't know. I'm going to try not to talk too much. Chapter 1, Birth. And this title placard really reminds me of Evangelion for some reason.
Hot sunlight shines through the veined membrane of an aquatic egg.
So great. I mean, the voice acting.
It was once carried in deeper, cooler waters of a more northern latitude. Now it bobs freely in a subtropical shallow. The consciousness dawning inside is prodded alert in discomfort.
I'd probably recommend using headphones, actually. My speakers are pretty good, but I don't remember. There's some of the ambient sounds. When I was watching this part, I just heard, like, deep groanings, probably from the whale, that I didn't hear when I was watching it on Alpha Beta Gamer's channel. So, something to consider.
It is a male whale calf, stirring with a newfound awareness of body. This pod has held him for 17 months, nurtured his development from a single fertilized cell. Now it can no longer support his life. The inflow of nutrients and oxygenated blood has ceased. A once comfortable cradle now pinches at his enlarged form. Pushed onto his own faculty, a suffocating urge to thrash wells up inside him. Yet he hesitates. A song booms from the world outside. The powerful low frequency vibrates through his whole body.
Come on, dear, time to wake up.
With the certainty of deep imprinting, the calf knows who is calling. It is his mother. She is on the other side. He must join her. The shell containing him is now only a brittle husk, swollen with waste material and straining at the seams. Clumsy first movements form the start of the calf's motor awareness. The egg is evolved to rupture open along a central seam. A few thin cartilage bands are all that retain him. One more forceful effort and he will escape.
Corporation for Earth Media presents a Studio Mongoose production. South Scrimshaw.
Technically speaking, the whale didn't hatch from an egg. Egg is something of a misnomer. While there are known egg-laying mammals, none of them are whales.
That is really hard to see, but yeah, okay, we'll click on it. Oh, and I see. Excuse me, might be a good idea just to hover over the text anyway, because it'll underline it. So there we go.
There are 4 extant species of egg-laying mammal. They are...
What is extant? I'm sorry, I know a lot of words. I've heard it used, but I can't recall. Here we go. What is extant? What does extant mean? What does extant? Still in existence, surviving. Okay. Fair enough. 4 surviving species of egg-laying mammal.
the platypus,
Okay. Echidna?
the echidna,
Oh, Sonic fans rejoice.
the snorb,
The Snorb. Is that real?
and the ribbon snore.
Okay. So, right, some of these are aliens. Now, question. We'll try it in a second.
This whale species has a placental connection to the mother while developing.
Okay, if I hit escape, we can go to the history. But you cannot click on the thing in the history. So that's fair. Okay, how do return, I guess.
Birthing shell is the term currently favored in scientific journals when discussing this style of external womb. The outer cartilage folds backwards, shrinking the space inside and expelling the contents outwards, creating pressure against the inner membrane until it finally pops.
Gross.
The calf spills out into the open ocean. The world is a rush of sensory stimulation. The newborn is momentarily stunned limp. He comes to amid a dizzying flurry of life. Plants and protists tangle and snag his every movement.
I don't know what a protist is, but yeah, okay, let's look it up. Alright. Alright, what is protist? It says what is protista, but... Protist, a single-celled organism of the kingdom Protista, such as a protozoan or simple alga. Is that like algae? What are 3 examples of protists? Algae, amoebas, euglena, plasmodium, and slime molds. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so algae, basically. Cool.
Small scavengers eagerly devour the cloud of waste.
Like I said, gross.
Plants unfurl and retract in almost animalistic locomotion. Foliage clings to the calf from above. He swims deeper to escape. His mother's song reassures him once again, but she is still nowhere in sight. Sponges, wharf biters, crustaceans and corals dangle from the plants like ornaments. Something solid grabs from below. His descent is halted. He's being lifted back towards the surface. The calf breaches, filling his lungs with their first breath of air. This is the breeding ground of his species. At the year's peak, this wide expanse fills with whales. But today our calf finds the surface empty, except for a very odd clump of plants. The calf does not know what to make of it. Equally disturbed and compelled, he stares transfixed. Plants continue to tickle his body just below the water. A resident waterbug examines him with equal skepticism. Sudden movement atop the leafy mass catches his eye. It's all too frightening for the little one. He retreats back under the surface.
Also, birds are evil. That's not true.
His overpowering instinct is to nurse, but he cannot. His exhaustion mounts and fear seizes him. He is lost. And as if sensing his weakness, tendrils begin to grasp at him. A vine lassos his fluke. There is no escape. In a final burst of strength, the calf fights, thrashing, tearing, and uprooting his attackers. A scent of blood enters the water. His mother cries a pained song to soothe him. The calf is hit with the sudden realization. The strange plants are not taking him away from his mother. The strange plant clod is his mother.
This is where I stopped. This is where I was like, I need to watch this or read this or whatever myself. Now I don't know how long it's gonna take. It could. I've seen some things that are a couple hours long. The Alpha Beta Gamer video was an hour, so who knows? We'll go as far as we can. The Brillo whale, Pistrixenia silvifera. Chapter 2, Anatomy. Yeah, very curious. And I wonder if it's one thing to click on per chapter. Could be.
What evidence remained of this year's Brillo breeding season has long since been swept away. This sandbar has returned to its normal, pristine state. Save for one unusual pile of rocks.
Scanning coil 1, coil 2 charging. Stand by.
This is a stone dog.
Okay.
Somewhat like a hermit crab, this animal lives in a portable shelter of foreign material.
A stone dog.
It grasps together a shell of scavenged of debris with its long limbs and secretes an adhesive mucus to hold it fast. Stone dogs mostly rely on ambushing prey from a camouflaged position. Right now, this stone dog here is not the hunter, but the hunted.
Yeah, I was going to ask how big it is. Like, what do they hunt?
It is a woefully obvious attempt to hide, as the predator stalking it possesses one of the sharpest minds in the ocean.
Man.
A quick check if the coast is clear. It isn't. Our whale calf wants to play, not eat.
I see. So the whale calves, or the whales are smart? I mean, I guess they are.
But from the stone dog's perspective, there's little difference. Since hatching, our calf has been a healthy and energetic specimen.
Yeah, stone dog looks unhappy.
Despite his late birth, no complications are detectable. If anything, his cognitive ability is showing swift advancement. He is very fond of holding his fluke above the water surface. Scattered showers are currently moving through the area. The calf has been emerging frequently for visual inspection since the rain began. He seems very interested in the weather above.
Huh.
A long call reminds him not to stray too far. Brillos have surprisingly keen vision above the water. The calf is quickly able to spot his mother. This is the farthest distance he has travelled from her. It is more than twice that of yesterday. Today was quite an adventure. Now, reminded of his mother, all this bravery seems to evaporate. He is suddenly anxious to be at her side.
Whales typically stick together, right?
He will bring her any interesting objects discovered while exploring. And boot it at her face. His mother is trying to rest off another bout of nausea. This play is a bit much.
Nausea from what? I assume she's dying. That's how things go a lot of the time.
But these discomforts are trivial to the bond between mother and child. Our neural interface even shows a measurable relief in her symptoms during these interactions.
Huh.
The calf's carefree play is training for future hunts and the essential skills of survival. But it will be some time before he has to worry about earning meals on his own. His mother's long, prehensile udders reach him through the thorny bramble. The milk he nurses on is thick as yogurt. Calves subsist on this fat-rich diet for 2 years, building up an insulating layer of blubber.
I wonder how close this is to actual whale biology. I know typically whale calves are born live. Well, let me rephrase that. They're born capable of, like, movement and stuff. Right? I mean, obviously all of our young are born live, but like, they swim around and stuff, I think.
And the bands of spongy tissue for other organisms to burrow into. Here we arrive at what truly makes a Brillo whale such a remarkable specimen for study. Symbiosis of unrivaled complexity and variety. This female was initially selected for study due to her exquisitely beautiful exterior. The mammal is almost totally concealed within the undulating botanical mass. In cross-section, the distinction between whale and passenger is more visible.
Alright. Charging all the scanners. Yep.
Unlike the stone dog shown earlier, this is not simply an external attachment of foreign material.
Yeah, it's growing inside.
The Brillo whale has an intimate connection to thousands of other living creatures. The whale chooses from among a variety of partner species and offers real estate within designated regions of its body.
Dermis habitat. Dermis is like skin.
An inner membrane draws the line between the welcome cohabitation space and the whale's vitals.
Protective cuticle barrier.
This unusual arrangement raises several questions, the first of which we will address. What is the benefit of living on a whale? To help us illustrate the principle, we will be assisted by a sea bunny, or Sea-Bun, to use its more common nickname.
Here we go.
The South Scrimshaw team has received very explicit direction from our producers, and we are to unequivocally clarify to viewers that the Sea-Bun is not a real animal.
Okay.
The Sea-Bun owes its creation to the original landing party of Kronos 5. Though the specifics are lost, the most convincing story is that it was something misheard over a shoddy radio connection. As those early years recede into contemporary legend, it is important to remember that the tales of hardship told by the first landing party are not exaggerated. The pioneers were indeed isolated for 11 solar cycles, and it was not until the conclusion of the hostilities on Earth that the current biannual delivery schedule could be planned.
How long is 11 solar cycles? Is it 7 or 11 years, or is it longer because it's presumably farther out? But anyway.
The uncharted planet was a land of mysterious fauna and unknown environmental hazards. It is a time where technology seemed to suffer inexplicable malfunctions, while repair efforts were always undermined by a constant lack of materials, tools, and manpower.
Various examples of Sea-Bun doodles and graffiti.
The myth of the Sea-Bun serves as caricature for the force of chaos, always at work, when one's back is turned.
Fair enough.
Sea bunnies was a sort of shorthand for, I don't know what's wrong, it could be anything, including a cryptid. Among our seniors who were present at the time, one likened the expression to "here be dragons" on medieval maps. Another drew a parallel with Murphy's Law.
It's the Sea-Bun. Or Gremlins. Gremlins? Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, either as intentional jokes or honest misunderstanding of colourful communiques, word of sea bunnies repeatedly escaped the planet in a way interpreted as fact by those off-world. Compounding this misinformation was a popular hazing ritual where new arrivals were assigned to catch a sea bun for research, usually being given a butterfly net and sent somewhere isolated and moderately dangerous. A unique culture planetside encouraged the escalation of this practice, until a few near disasters brought a legislated end to the budding tradition.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Rules are written in blood, after all. Alright, so it's a letter. I know you guys already understand the gravity of the situation. I know there isn't malice behind these sorts of pranks, so we'll skip the part where I scold you like children. But understand, I'm mostly planet side. The brass isn't. They aren't in a position to understand how some FNG effing new guy got sent on a literal wild goose chase and swept away by the tide. We're also lucky the fishing boat was there to pick him out of the drink. It's usually very uncommon from what I understand of, man overboard things. This case is getting closed without any disciplinary sanctions. It helps that the kid is being a sport about it. Regardless, I need everyone at your outpost to consider themselves on probation. I gave some personal assurances to secure this outcome, so my neck is on the line too. Send my regards to Blank. Blank was saying the other day how we haven't seen you two for a while. Let's get some horseshoes in before the weather cools. Regards.
Regular infrastructure improvements have also blunted the disgruntled sarcasm towards occasional hardship.
Unofficial emblem frequently used to mark construction equipment. Civil Corps of Engineers. No sea buns.
In recent years, the sea bunny is most defined by Will Voynich's cartoons.
We have another thing within a thing. Kids Wilderness.
Kids Wilderness is a monthly publication created and edited by Will Voynich, written and illustrated by Voynich and various contributors.
Kids Wilderness signed from creator's office, screen printed on Formica panel.
Using friendly illustrations, it focuses on natural science, camping, and health and wellness. It joins the official Sunday newspaper as one of the planet's only 2 print publications. Voynich was originally a cartographer and among those first to land with Kronos 5. children's literature only became a guiding passion after he discovered himself a soon-to-be father, and realised how very little would be available for the new generation by way of age-appropriate entertainment and education. On off hours at the Cartographic Survey Computer Lab, using optical scanners and image editing software designed for map-making, Voynich painstakingly constructed his first works. 5 volumes containing every fable he could remember from his own childhood.
Fox and the Grapes.
While he faithfully retells many of these timeless classics, Voynich's recall is often hazy. Several of the stories are so misremembered they are more original work than adaptations. For example, The Elephant and the Mouse retains nothing from the Aesop tale besides the titular animals. Voynich's version has the two discussing the different sorts of dreams they have while sleeping. Voynich's first intentional works of fiction would be penned for Kids' Wilderness. The Adventures of Seabun and Monaco.
Is Monaco a sea dog? Seabun eats the telecommunication network.
The accessible charm of Seabun and Monaco found an immediate and enthusiastic audience. Currently playing are musical arrangements from the puppet show adaptation, which has been touring schoolhouses. The songs were composed and performed by Nico Kuprin. The formula of each adventure largely follows the same beats. Seabun, an ocean sprite with impish curiosity and an endless appetite for inedible material, happens upon some unknown piece of infrastructure and decides to devour it. Meanwhile, Monaco, a nervous eel sidekick who always follows Seabun, watches on in comically exaggerated terror while imagining the most nightmarish possible outcomes.
That's kind of funny.
These predictions of doom never come to pass. But Seabun's actions do cause significant damage, forcing construction crews to deploy for repairs. Seabun, now realising his error, uses his supernatural strength to help workers in various ways and atones for his destructive acts. Everything is then rebuilt stronger than before. The story formula seeks to inform young readers about vital infrastructure, where it is found, what happens if it breaks, and the sort of specialised work that maintenance requires.
That's probably good. I think a lot of people today don't understand why we have the things that we have. You know, people are like, where does food come from? Oh, the grocery store. Yeah, but before that.
It also seeks to make the harsh edges of a frontier life less frightening and unknown to young readers. Each story ends with the sleepy Seabun returning to his burrow with a souvenir where he slumbers peacefully. That is, until he gets hungry again.
Deepest lore, researched the sea bunny. Oh, okay, cool, and then it brings us back to here, which is good.
Given how entrenched the character has become in the popular consciousness here, we feel it appropriate that the Seabun help guide our exploration of these oceans.
Fair enough. And then back here again, excellent.
While each species has its own unique adaptation to this niche lifestyle, we can create several broad categories of benefits such evolution aims to harness. Moving through water takes energy. It is far easier to travel great distance when someone else is doing the swimming. Simply hitching a ride can be greatly beneficial. For example, one species of crab only lives on Brillo whales every other generation and uses whale transportation to greatly expand its range.
Huh, so it's not just flora, it's fauna as well.
Unless one is the apex predator, the threat of being eaten is an ever-present reality. If one lives as a potential meal, it is very important to be the least desirable, most difficult of meals. Finding alliance with a giant beast and living under its protection creates a very effective deterrence. It's always still possible to be eaten, but hunters now risk facing off with a leviathan.
Makes sense.
Some partnerships are more proactive. Certain shark, skates, rays and scarps have formed hunting partnership with the brillows. They help find and catch quarry, then share in the feast. Pack hunting allows the brillo to take down larger and different sorts of prey.
Huh.
The blood or waste of brillo whales can also provide a source of nourishment. This not offered freely. Obviously, a brillo whale cannot stand to be eaten alive. An Earth parallel is an oxpecker bird on a rhinoceros. The bird may drink a marginal amount of blood while it cleans off ticks. It's a fair trade for the rhinoceros, as the tick is the far greater threat.
Yep. Neat. Yeah, and there's such, like, the horrible stuff that lives in the ocean, like, not just barnacles, but other things.
So too, will a brillo whale expend blood in a beneficial relationship. In several instances, living on a brillo has evolved into part of an organism's life cycle, and the specific conditions regulated in a brillo's body are required for a new generation.
Huh.
In some cases, this goes even further. With the biology of the two species becoming so enmeshed, it is unclear where one ends and the other begins. But these instances are rare. Our research team is very interested if these extreme cases represent a functioning system, or the pathological eventuality to such complicated arrangements. All of these riders taking in small amounts adds up to a great expense for the host. This prompts the obvious next question. What does the whale stand to benefit from this arrangement? This is more complicated to respond to. There seems to be as many answers as there are brillo whales, as there is spectacular variety among brillos. For now, let us approach the answer with specific examples from this mother. The most prominent feature along her body is the wide variety of photosynthesizing organisms. The whale is, of course, not an autotroph producing her own energy from sunlight. But the specialized sea flora pays rent by sharing some of their sugars into her blood. When light is low, roots ferment, and alcohol is also created as a byproduct.
Okay, so the sugars I get.
Certain plants near her head also act as fishing lures, drawing food to her maw.
That makes sense.
While she may occasionally swim deeper, a partially plant-subsidized life has locked her within the photic zone, the upper aquatic layer where enough sunlight can sustain the leaves.
That's cool.
Adult brillo behavior and biology is often dramatically influenced by their symbiotic arrangement. Here we see a blood trilobite. This is not an invited guest. A long needle-like proboscis pushes down and taps a vein. Drinking in great volume and offering nothing in return, it is a true parasite.
Wouldn't you'd think some of the things around it would be like some of the fish that feed on the plants or whatever, the whole ecosystem would take care of that thing.
This is a job for the vellum worm.
Ah, here we go.
Vellum worms fill their stomachs by grooming brillos of unwanted visitors.
Nice.
It is currently hypothesized that vellum worms distinguish the welcome from the attackers through smell and taste. Parasites have all been found to have elevated amounts of a bile-like brillo waste inside them.
Huh.
This mother brillo also has to worry about creatures browsing her lovely plants. Herbivorous fish attempt frequent raids on the leafy goods. This one is alone and quite oblivious.
Then it's food for her.
The vellum worm packs a powerful punch for larger animals.
Really?
A neurotoxin-filled barb is shot into the fish's heart. It can only manage a faint muscle spasm before the venom completes its work.
Wow, so those worms are frickin' vicious.
The brillo whale's strategy is called a symbiotic garden. It is an intentionally cultivated arrangement and a precarious balance of mutual reliance. When successfully maintained, the host becomes a morass of life. It is usually defended from attack. It can sometimes acquire energy in novel ways, and occasionally it is able to invade new niche ecosystems.
I don't know why the music is so loud all of a sudden. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys.
The universal downside experienced by all Brillos is that more complexity creates more points for failure.
Yes.
An adult Brillo's life is dominated by the struggle to groom a semblance of order into increasingly overgrown flanks. To a simple calf, these adult problems have yet to enter his mind. Today he has found his mother's leaves serve as fun streamers to play with.
That's why she's nauseous. Because she's sort of being eaten alive.
She finally scolds him. She is too unwell to tolerate any more roughhousing. He doesn't quite understand, but he has other diversions. Primarily drinking more of her milk. Given the complexity of Brillo anatomy, even small health problems can swiftly spiral out of control. This female experienced complications while giving birth. There is the potential for the situation to worsen. A thorned branch has become ingrown, puncturing through both the layer of protective outer muscle and the cuticle barrier. This had begun prior to calving, but her contractions to extend the womb also caused the plant shard to stab deeper. The spikes are now in contact with her intestines. Fortunately, there is no puncture yet.
Yeah.
The site is inflamed and white blood cells flood the area. The immune system unmistakably identifies this as an injury. We can witness her stiff reluctance to move and read a jolt in brain activity when she's jostled. It must be greatly painful. The greatest danger right now is a tear of the intestines, which would certainly be fatal.
Yeah, sepsis is no joke.
There is reason to hope. Our scans also reveal that she has recovered from a similar injury in the past. Perhaps Brillos regularly endure such ghastly wounds.
That would be cool. I mean, they have to be super tough if they let things grow on them.
Perhaps it was the safety of the Brillo herd which afforded her enough time to convalesce. Certainly her odds of survival will be boosted greatly if she is able to make the long swim back. For now, she is still well enough to care for her newborn, though doing so must be exhausting. Judging by several physical indicators, this is most likely her first calf. Those Brillos who manage their gardens well can be extremely long-lived. Females can give birth as many as 8 times. If the calf survives, one day he too might also cast his genes forward, his own minute fingerprint on the future's shape. Regardless of whatever metric of success we observers of an outside species might apply, his life will be led by the means it was forged, in the crucible of natural selection. But, for now, a rare moment of shelter.
Chapter 3, Departing. We're going to stop here for today. This is good. This is really interesting. And I like the little side things. It's really neat how much thought they've put into this. And, you know, they kind of reference stuff, but they don't really need to tell you about it. Like, oh, you know, they landed and there was, what did they say? There was some sort of thing going on at Earth. And sounded like a rebellion or something. And only once that was finished were they able to reestablish contact. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time and attention. Really do appreciate it. Really hope you guys are enjoying these episodes. As always, guys, questions, comments, concerns, good, bad, or indifferent, let me hear them. I do try and read all of them. I'm still not really reading the Neverending Story stuff yet. I just need to dive into it because it's kind of slowing down, but not really. It's pretty steady. And I don't really read those comments, unfortunately, because it's more about, it's not really related to me. It's related to the clip, which is totally fine. That's whatever people want to do is totally fine. But if you do have, comments or anything, leave them on the video. I am mostly able to see them now, assuming they're not memory hold. And then I read them and I try and respond to everybody. So, something I like to do at the end of every episode is a unique positive moment. If you haven't been to the channel before, welcome. If you have, welcome back. The unique positive moment is supposed to, it's supposed to be a way to retrain your brain to seek the positivity. And what that ends up doing is basically sort of making your perspective either more positive or neutral, because everything is so bad, especially if you watch the news, if you're on the internet, whatever, everything is just terrible. And, if it bleeds, it sells. So there's going to be more negative news than there is positive anyway. And so that seeing all that stuff shifts our perspective into thinking that things are terrible. But that doesn't really help us. So if you train your mind to look for the positive, you're actually supposed to do 3. You're supposed to write them down before you go to bed. 3 unique positive moments. Then throughout the day, eventually, the idea is that you train yourself to seek them out. So like, I'm drinking this beer right now and I'm enjoying it. And I haven't had a Foster's in a while, so that would be 1. So here on the channel, we only do 1 unique positive moment. What is your guys for today? For me, it's like I said, the beer. It's good. It's good. But that's my unique positive moment. Hopefully your guys just as good, if not better. Hopefully better, of course. And I hope to see you guys next time. Till then, guys, take care.